everybody, of course, knows you're close friends with the Gronkowski family. I know some of the Gronks went to Maryland with you. You're, of course, friends with Rob and that entire family. And by the way, I mean, well, let me just ask. Friends in high school, is that where you guys start kicking it?
College, actually.
College, okay.
Yeah, at Maryland, Dan and Chris were a tight end and a fullback for us, and Dan became one of my best friends on the team there. So that's where that whole venture started.
Well, all of the Gronks seem like they match your energy, just ready to go, and we're hype, and let's do everything we got to do at max.
Yeah.
Yeah, that situation made sense, and that's kind of a funny thing too, because when I played football, like I was a very similar guy to how I am now and how I was in WWE, but there wasn't Mojo yet. It was still Dean back then, and Dean was the guy that, yes, he spent all the hours at the facility and all these things, but Dean didn't party. Dean went home at the end of practice and slept as much as he could and studied as much as he could and, film and all of these things, and was, on that side at all time. Couldn't get him to go to a party, couldn't get him to have a sip of alcohol, like none of this stuff. So when I met Dan, I thought Dan was like a crazy guy, like I thought Dan Gronk was one of the crazier people that I had ever met. And if you know all five brothers, you know that he's a church mouse compared to the rest of these guys. Like that, Dan is the only normal human being in the entire family, and the rest are maniacs. Dan is the one that keeps everybody else in line. And to me, at that time, I thought he was crazy.
Yeah.
Which is funny because you fast forward later, I was the craziest of the two,
Man, I remember Gronk came and did the Mania, and I met him because of you. I got the opportunity to meet him, and my kids, like I was so over with my kids for that. But like he's a big dude. Like you don't realize how big a guy he is. He looked like he was 6 inches taller than me, and I'm 6'4", and I don't know how tall he is, but standing next to him, like he's a huge dude, man. I don't know, you don't realize it seeing him out there on the football field what a big dude he is. But you and him are two peas in a pod, man. Like and it's right out of Central Casting too, by the way, of the partying jocks and the, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, and headbutting each other, and like, and it was just so funny just seeing you guys interact, and that would come out every now and then. It was so cool. Like I wanted to be one of you, but I wasn't a cool athlete. So I just watched from a distance as a tear rolled down my cheek.
Guys are the reason I started like going out and partying, and that whole Mojo persona came out because I was looking at them, and 5 brothers who all played pro ball, 4 in the NFL, 1 in the MLB, and I'm like, how do these guys party as frequently and as hard as they do? And they all are incredible athletes, especially Rob that broke all the tight end records. And going out with them those first few times, I immediately understood it because I was sitting back and I was kind of like trying to figure this out. As hard as they dance, it is the biggest cardio workout I've probably ever had. So when I started like getting after it and like partying with them, when I showed up to the PC for my first week of training, when I signed with NXT, they couldn't blow me up. I was like, I'll do this. Everyone else is dead. I was like, man, I'm ready to go. They're like, how'd you prepare for this? I was like, well, I just did 6 days in Vegas last week.
But with the family Gronk.
Yeah. Because we're all
that's great.
We get up on a dance floor, the whole club, the whole concert's watching you. So you really got to be throwing it. And then we were all single, so there's pretty girls in the audience. So we really couldn't be tired because you don't want them seeing that. And then, like, yeah, it was
I love it.
At all times. So I've never been more winded in my life.
You needed drinks just to hydrate, not even to get drunk, just to stay alive.
That's so awesome because I can envision that too, and I'm just like, look at those guys up there, man. I wish I was one of those guys up there. I'd like to probably twist my ankle getting up there.
A lot of that too, but the show must go on.
Amen. Amen.